my name is Shanu and welcome to my YouTube channel. This evening we'll be talking about my home birth experience, the birth of my second son, and I just wanted to share my thoughts and my experience with you. And I'm wearing my shirt from my midwife, Ohio midwife, that says I gave birth at home on purpose. So, my home birth was 2021 of May. Um, and I gave birth at around 10 o'clock, around the 10 o'clock mark at night. And I went into labor that day at 6 a.m. And my water broke at 4:48 p.m. And I didn't start pushing until 8:20 p.m. And I didn't have my son until past 10. So I was pushing for hours to get my son out. When you are having a home birth, it's very important that you have a certified midwife with a lot of experience and that has an emergency plan in place for your child. So that was important for me. And it's also important to have a doula for pain management support and, just for support of overall for the mother and father. My doula was Stork Helpers. She was amazing. And I also had a birth photographer, and I believe her birth photography name is Mountain Mama. At that time, she was studying to become a doula, and she was amazing as well. My birth team was amazing. I was able to labor and give birth at home, and I cannot thank God enough that I was able to do that after experiencing a traumatic loss of my first son, having a vaginal birth in the hospital and being traumatized from that. So I'm very thankful. And with my experience at home for my home birth, I was able to eat, anything I wanted. I had Chop House. I had a steak dinner. I had steak, sweet potatoes, and broccoli. I was able to eat protein bars, munch on ice, and I was able to drink Body Armor to keep my strength. I had to, really work on like strength and endurance and training my body. It's like training for a marathon, having a home birth and giving birth to a baby, and especially finding ways to manage the pain without medication. The way I was able to manage my pain without medication was through my doula. She had this technique where she could do this hip squeeze, and when she was squeezing my hip, it would alleviate the pain when I was having a contraction. And what I also found soothing was my midwife and my doula or my ex-husband putting their fist in my back during the time where I was having a contraction, that they were putting their fist in my back, because I know a lot of women speak about having contractions and it feels like period cramps in the stomach. However, for me, my contractions were in my back. I felt the pain in my back. I felt like my back was delivering the baby. So I was just like, put your fist in my back. That's like you could hear me yelling, put your fist in my back during my contractions. But I made it through. I was able to labor on my toilet. I was able to labor in the shower with my ex-husband during my contractions, and the hot water on my back was soothing while I was telling him to put his fist in my back. I was not playing with him, but it all came together beautifully. I was going to have my son on a birth stool. However, with the position of my son, where he was in the womb and where I was at with the pushing process, I had to switch positions, and I actually had him in my bedroom in bed. So I had like tons of pillows stacked behind my back. I was in a certain position. I bared down and I pushed really hard about 2 or 3 good times. And I didn't even know I had my son. I think I left my body. Like, I feel like the pain was so excruciating that I just left and came back, and they were tapping me on my shoulder like, you pushed him out, he's here. And I know I was just like crying, like, oh my gosh, is he alive? And they were like, yes, he's alive. And yeah, I was like, he has 10 fingers and 10 toes. Like, the trauma of giving birth to a dead baby and then having a live baby in my arms. I was like, I just can't describe it. It was nothing but God. Like, I was just so full of gratitude. My heart was so happy at the moment. And he came out, he wasn't crying. He was just content. And he literally crawled up to my breast and started nursing. And that was painful. It hurts so bad. But afterwards, after I was nursing my son, I delivered my placenta, and my midwife was like, you have, lacerations, like you need, some tearing. And she said my tearing was more severe and that I would need to go to the hospital to get stitches. However, when I went to the hospital, the doctor was trying to stitch me, and I was really in a lot of pain from that because of the numbing. And he was like, we're going to have to take you into surgery and, get your stitches done from there. So with a 3rd-degree tear, it was horrible. But I made it through, and the doctor who performed the surgery was the same doctor who delivered my son that passed on. So it was a full circle moment for me. And I was so thankful that was the doctor who operated on me in the operating room, because he gave a lot of compassion and was amazing for the birth of my first son. So I was very thankful for that. And I know that was nothing but God. I also had pubic symphysis during my pregnancy, where the pubis was the symphysis, it started to separate by 3 centimeters after the birth. So I was unable to walk after giving birth to my son on top of a 3rd-degree tear. So I did have a difficult postpartum recovery, but I made it through, and I'm thankful for that. I was breastfeeding every 2 hours, feeding on demand with my son, and I love breastfeeding. That was such a rewarding thing for me and such a great bonding experience. So I always encourage moms, breastfeed if you can and if you would like to. There's no pressure, but it was just an amazing bonding experience for my son and I. I also want to talk about things I had to overcome in my pregnancy, as far as being diagnosed as anemic. And when I was being diagnosed as anemic in my pregnancy, which was caught by my midwife, actually, I had to drink a supplement called Floradix, and it worked for me. I'm not a medical expert. I'm just saying what worked for me. And I was able to get my iron levels to where they needed to be. So I was able to have a home birth. I had something called co-care, where I still went to go see a OBGYN. I had a high risk doctor, so a fetal medicine doctor as well, because of my prior loss, and there was no diagnosis as to what caused my prior loss. So I was literally at the doctor every week, being seen by my midwife, OBGYN, or fetal medicine doctor. So I felt as if I was in great hands with my medical care team. And I think that's something important that you should have when you're having a home birth. If you have any questions about home birth, please feel free to comment down below, and I'll be sharing a few photos from my birth for you guys. So I hope this video was helpful about home births. Please like and subscribe to my channel and watch out for more videos. Thank you.